Righto guys, hope you enjoyed the last video. This is for the more advanced kids, so I'm going to be looking at a Vulfpeck song, their newest one actually. It's called 3 on E, and I'm kind of going to use that as a bit of a case study for you guys to work on, a bit of extra curricular stuff, or for the kids who are on holidays, something to do. So this tune, these guys are famously known for the genre of funk. So a lot of syncopation, meaning lots of offbeats, lots of counter rhythms, and lots of dominant chords. So this is a dominant chord here, an E9 chord. This song's based around the key of E. 3 on E is a bit of a fun play on words for hitting the downbeat of 1, 2, and 3 in the bar. So you'll notice in the song, when you have a listen, they're hitting 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's the kind of groove that one of the guitar players is doing with an E9 chord. So if we look at an E9 chord, it's built off the major triad, so E, G sharp, B, yeah? We're adding the 7th or the flattened 7th, which is going to be D, and then we're adding an F sharp, which is going to give our 9. Yeah, so we've got this sound. So that's how we build the E9 chord. That's your formula, your major triad, your 1st, 3rd, and 5th degree of your scale, add the flattened 7th, and add the 9th, which is also the 2nd note of the scale. So we know that E major, the 2nd note is F sharp, yeah? So we're just adding that higher octave. There it is. Famously used in a lot of James Brown songs as well. So the basic groove to this song is in 16ths, yeah, for the rhythm guitar player. So what I mean by that is 16 notes per bar, so we're grouping it into 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, yeah? And our right hand, notice I'm really, really relaxed for funk music because of the demand of and intensity of the tempo and the counter rhythms and the syncopation. You've got to be as relaxed as possible. So the first goal we want to try to get down is we want to hit 1, 2, and 3 downbeats with ghost notes on every other 16th note. So what that means is you're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're the beats you're going to hit. The 16th note of 1, the 16th note of 2, the 16th note of 3, and the rest is going to be all ghost notes with your right hand. So as you play the first 16th note, you're going to release your left hand, release the pressure, and you're going to get all these ghost notes. So have a listen to this. So I've got 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. And the second bar just goes to 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Yeah, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. And then once you got the hang of that, you want to add E on 2 on the second bar. So that sounds like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 3E. Yeah, cool. So on that second bar, he's kind of just chucking a few random offbeats in there. So in a bar of 16ths, our offbeat's going to be E and A. So the upstrokes of our right hand. So you can do whatever you want really. So I'll give you a few examples. You can go E on 2, E on 4, which sounds like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. You could do an A on 3, something random. So you go 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Yeah, cool. So that gives it a bit of a different groove and feel. You could do A on 1. You could do anything really. So have a bit of a play with that. Obviously, have a good listen to the song as well, so you get familiar with it. So that's the first guitar player. So that's just over the E groove, yeah? So he's basing his whole groove around that E9 chord, that inversion of the root, the third, the flat and seventh, and the ninth. So that's a typical guitar inversion. That's our go-to basically in funk. And then you hear, like, if I just groove the same chord in different inversions, it kind of sounds like this. You can really play around with it. So kind of stepping out a semitone into the actual chord gives it that funk flavour. Yeah. Add some extension notes there, just your pinky there on the 9th fret, bottom 2 strings. Yeah, occasionally you can kind of hit that. And then you can also play that shape as well. That's a really cool shape that a lot of guitar players will use. So instead of playing that inversion, they'll play up here. So you've got, you basically got your D on the bass. So your 9th's here, yeah. So my 3rd finger's on the 12th fret on the D string, my root finger's on the 11th fret of the G string, index finger's on the 9th fret of the B string, and our pinky's on the little E string on the 12th fret. And you get this sound. And that's a really cool sound. You can also suspend the 3rd. So I've just moved my 3rd, which was on the B string here, which was our G sharp. I've moved that up to A and I've suspended it. So it gets this cool sound. So I can kind of get these grooves. I'll go 9s, this inversion. There's your suspended, yeah? You can also do just a basic 7th inversion up here, which is cool, just to change it up. So like just a normal E7. So I've got index up at the 14th fret, think power chord shape here, 3rd finger's on the G string here on the 16th, root's on 15th fret of the 2nd string, pinky's on the 17th fret on the little E string. So I got that. Sorry, that pinky should be back one. But you can use that, that's a cool sound too. But let's just stick to a dominant 7th there. So that's actually on the 16th fret as well. So if I use all those 4 different ideas, you can kind of get some great funky grooves happening and variation in your funk playing. So instead of just sticking to the 1, 2, 3. Now in context of the Vulfpeck song, there's 2 guitar players. So when you're in an ensemble situation, it's ideal if you stick to one basic formula and then everyone else complements the whole arrangement. So I would only use heaps of variations of inversions if I'm the only guy comping or the only rhythm guitarist or only guitarist in the band. That's the best time to do that. But if you're in a band where you've got 3 rhythm players, pick an inversion and stick to it, because the other guys are gonna play the other inversions for you and add all that extra flavour and it will all marry together. So if I play this groove here, little chromatic ideas. So you could start from D, D sharp, E. So you could do like a chromatic 7th run. Or double up on the D, ba-da-ba-da. Yeah, that's a very James Brown thing. So I could go. Yeah. And the other thing that I love to do with this kind of groove is just, you can use E pentatonic scale. Yeah, we're in the key of E. Guitar player's favourite key. Yeah. So you could just comp and jam and improvise by yourself. And it's a good challenge because if you set up your kind of pulse and make sure that you're in the pocket, you can start to do all kinds of lines and come back in on the 1, 2, 3. So what I mean by that is just play your first bar and your second bar, do some improv, come back in on your first bar with the rhythm. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.